How's it going, everybody? I'm Cherokee Ronnie. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about why you should buy a Jeep JK. So the number one reason why you should buy a Jeep JK, it's pretty capable out of the box. It's basic enough to where it's fun to take off-road and it's fun to drive on-road, but the parts you can buy for these things are cheap. This front stubby bumper only cost me 200 bucks. It's not an Amazon special. It's actually pretty thick steel. I've used it a couple times. Just the setups with the knuckles, upgrading the steering will be super easy. You can lift them like 2 inches, they'll fit 35s. I didn't buy aftermarket fender flares because when these hit a tree, they just bend. You get metal ones, they'll cave in your fender. So the only thing I did was cut the stock fender flares. This Jeep's lifted 3 inches, so it gives it a lot more space to articulate and it makes it look a lot higher also, but it gives it little tire syndrome because I'm running 35s, but it looks like I'm running little 31s when you step back from it. Got some rock sliders, they're pretty beefy. Got this little stubby bumper in the back, did the spare tire delete. I carry the spare tire inside now. Got some dual exhaust on there. Basically, I got a couple $100 in some parts. I'm running 35s, aftermarket wheels, and this thing is very, very capable. That's why I like the JK so much, because it is super simple. It's capable right out of the box. You can put 33s on this thing right off the showroom floor and go places I can go. Same way with the interior. It is super basic. I love it. I love the way it looks, how easy it is to pull the carpet out, and the floor mats to clean it. The other thing I like about the JK, that it's super light. You know, that's how Wrangler's always been. And usually an obstacle isn't a problem whatsoever. Even riding on this little back road here, you know, it's not real rough. You know, sometimes when you lift a vehicle, they become very rough. My XJ rides pretty good, but it rides a little rough sometimes when you start bouncing up over rocks. That's what I like about the JK. You do some stuff to it and it still rides pretty decent, and it's light enough to where when you do lift them, you get some lift out of them. The Wrangler is very, very capable off the showroom floor, like I was talking about. You could put a small lift on this thing. You could even level it out, put 33s on it, and this thing would do great off-road. I've seen it. I've hung out with people that have done it. I know a lot of people are going to be confused by the last video that I made about the Wrangler, about, you know, how I'm not a big fan of it. Them are the things that I wasn't a big fan of, and they could have did different, which they did a lot of stuff different in the newer Wranglers, but I'm not a big fan at all of the newer Wranglers. A lot of people ain't a big fan of the JK, but for some reason I'm drawn to the JK, even the sports, because of how basic they are and how easy they are to work on. And the parts for them are just cheap, man. I'm talking about good parts. And comparing it to the Cherokee, you know, mine's built and all that stuff, and that's great, but I got a lot of money in that Cherokee, and I also have a lot of money in this. It depends what route you want to go. The reason why we bought the Cherokee, because we knew we were going to rip it apart and put everything new in it and upgrade it. A lot of people don't have the space, the time, or the knowledge to do that, but they want to get off-road, and you know, it's very hard as a young teenager to build that stuff. Or understand how to do that stuff, or they have enough money but they don't know what to do, how to do it, and they watch YouTube videos and they're not sure. The JK is a very good platform to start from, because like I said, buy a set of 35s, aftermarket wheels, a couple bumpers, and you're very capable off-road. This particular Jeep has done it all. It's went to the grocery store. It's went to trips to Ohio, 4-lane, back roads. Took a 2-mile or 200-mile trail riding trip, which I have a video of that. I climbed the coal pile. We go off-road in it all the time. We do mild off-road. This Jeep's done it all. You could throw a set of diff guards on this thing and update the steering a little bit, and honestly, you'd have an awesome weekend warrior Wrangler, and you can still drive it comfortably down the road, going to work, and all that stuff. And that's what I like about the JK, honestly, is you can do a bare minimum, do a lot off-road, but still keep that drivability on the road, going to work, to the store, or whatever it may be. You can still keep that. And I think that's why everybody loves the Wrangler so much nowadays, because how they come from the showroom floor, they're really capable. The sensors on this thing amaze me, you know, how it does off-road and how everything works. It's just weird how everything works and how easy it is to off-road. And that's why I recommend this to a new off-roader, because there's no honing on the motor. There's no pounding the skinny pedal. I mean, there's every once in a while I had to get into it, but the way everything works together, how they got it set up, this thing is just beautiful off-road. It's almost like you don't even have to put effort into it. I'm still an XJ fan at heart, but the problem that we're running into here in my state is rust, and nobody wants to buy a rust bucket for $4,000, $5,000 and go put $10,000 in it, and it's going to last 2 or 3 years, and you can barely drive it down the road because it has other issues. But like my case, like I was saying, I bought it, I fixed it up, and I pretty much made it to where you could drive it off-road and take it to work, and then we went farther than that. Now it's a strictly trail rig. It does drive down the road pretty good and everything. But a lot of people want to update with the times. They want to get something that rides better, that's a little bit more convenient, that is a little bit newer, has you know, Bluetooth, all this stuff, and that's understandable. And the way the Wrangler looks, you can make tons of different styles, you can do tons of different things. I just wanted to go with a regular Wrangler look. I didn't do anything fancy like the grills and stuff like that. If that's your thing, that's fine. It's whatever. We're all in a Jeep community here. We're not bashing anybody's Jeep, whether it's a Liberty, an XJ, or whatever it is. I believe that we're all in the same community. I mean, I've seen Renegades, the new Renegades, going out and doing stuff that Wranglers couldn't, and doing stuff that Cherokees couldn't. It's all about how you drive and how you got it set up. So make sure when you build these things, you set it up for in your area, because if not, you're going to build something that's not going to do great where you're at. And that's what we did with the XJ, and that's what I did with this. I wanted to build something that I could take on a trip if I have to go somewhere, or take it to a wheeling trip or something like that. I wanted to build it for a weekend warrior ride, and this is what this thing is. It's a daily driver. Here lately, it's just been sitting in the backyard because we got everything else to drive. We got the truck, the XJ, and all that stuff. We have a 4-door Wrangler now we take everywhere. But it does great. It does everything that I want it to do. And honestly, the prices are starting to come down on these things. But what I'm saying, if you're looking for something that's decent, it's nice, it's got a nice feel to it. The seats are comfortable. It rides nice down the road. It's got AC. It's not all rotted out. You could pick it up for a decent price and just throw a little bit of money at it, and you're off-road capable. The motors are well known, to go over 200,000. The transmissions last forever in these models. There's, the flaws in it. Like I said, you can go back and watch that video, but you can't go wrong with getting a Wrangler to being an off-road enthusiast or being a beginner. I have the XJ, I have the Wrangler, I have the 4-door Wrangler. So I have all three of them in the category that I can pick which one I want to take. But here lately, I've been finding myself wanting to take the Wrangler, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the XJ is great. The XJ's done. We built that Jeep, and it's amazing. I mean, there's nothing else you can do to it. Throw a little body armor on it. The thing goes great off-road. The thing's amazing, and I'm really happy with that. And so now we're going to start on this and make it a little bit more off-road capable. But I just wanted to let you guys know that you don't have to do a lot to the Wranglers, and that's why you should buy one. You should have one of these in your arsenal, set in your driveway somewhere, because they are a blast. What I like about the Wrangler is you could take the tops off, the doors off, and the whole back, and you're just out there in the open. You can see everything you're doing, almost like you're in a side-by-side, and I like it, and I enjoy that. And the more I do it, the more I enjoy it, the more I can see the surroundings. I'm like, I understand why people like the Wrangler. I really do. And granted, you can take the doors off the XJ. That's fun. I'm not condemning either Jeep, but this is a video dedicated to why you should buy a Jeep JK. And this is why I think you should buy one, especially if you have a family, because there's so much you can do in these things. There's so much fun you can have in them. And they're just a fun vehicle all around, whether they're off-road or on-road. I was like, well, why not buy the older Wranglers? Them were the last Wranglers ever built. And I agree, they were. But I live in the Rust Belt. It's hard to find stuff like that that's not rotted out. I just went ahead and bought this particular Wrangler right here because it was super cheap. And it had super low miles. It had like 20,000 miles on it. Wasn't even broke in yet. And I bought this one. It was stock. And I fit 35s on it. It did rub on the front a little bit. But 35s do fit on these things stock. A lot of people say they don't. My old lady's four-door that we bought for her, we brought it home the next day. We threw 35s on it. It was stock. It was a rental, and they fit. They rubbed a little bit on the front. You have to use spacers, but if you guys want to see a video on that, I'll definitely do it. But they do fit. You don't need a lift. 35s will fit, but you can't stuff them up in there a whole lot. So that's, eventually we lifted the old lady's Jeep and put like an 1.5 inch leveling on the front and all that stuff, and it defeated all the rubbing and all that stuff. But right off the lot, man, you can do 35s and they fit. Just like the Rams. That's why I always like the Ram trucks. I had a 2015. You've probably seen it on the channel. 35s fit on their stock. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you got some information out of it. I'm Cherokee Ronnie. Stay dirty, my friend.